Welcome to NBA basketball. I'm Damon Bruce, and we've got it for you here on 2K Sports. Friday Hoops Fest coming up next. It's going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers up against the Indiana Pacers. And now it's off to Indianapolis we go for the call by Kevin Harlan alongside analyst Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg.
Welcome, everyone. This is the NBA on 2K Sports. I'm Kevin Harlan, ready to bring you all the action along with Clark Kellogg and Steve Kerr. And now a quick check of our starting lineups for both teams. First, for the Cavaliers, Irving and Waiters, the guards. And inside, a towering 7-footer, maybe the most imposing big man in the game, all-star center Andrew Bynum. Then it's Alonzo G, and it's Thompson in at the 4 spot. And for Indiana, George Hill at the 1, Paul George at the 2, and starting 7'2", one of the true giants in the game, another great big man out of Georgetown, Roy Hibbert. Then there's Danny Granger, and it's West in at the 4 slot.
It looked to me as though the Cavs seemed to take a step backwards last year in their development. It wasn't that they lost any players. They just failed to take the next step in terms of competing in the Eastern Conference.
Cavs did have a hard time against other Eastern teams, had a hard time against any team really, but in games against the East, Steve, they went 18-34. That's not going to cut it.
No, and the only division that the Cavs really held their own against was the Southeast, which was obviously pretty weak. So this was a Cleveland team that knew it was going to struggle. They did struggle, but again, hope for the future with a lot of young talent. And remember, they got the number 1 pick, Anthony Bennett.
Clock at 4. Here's Waiters. Misses off the left iron.
And a nice job there defensively, just getting a hand up enough to bother the shot.
Yeah, that was very nice. Impressive. It made it a much more difficult shot.
Now here is Hill. And George kicks to Granger. Pass to Hibbert. Back to Granger. Puts up a 3. That's good. Granger's got the opening field goal of the game for the Pacers.
And that's a nice way for his team to get started.
Yeah, really nice start for his team to get out in front here. You know, when Danny Granger was out with injury last season, he saw that the Pacers team had become really Paul George's and Roy Hibbert's team as they became the new faces. While some would throw a fit about it, Granger said he was proud of them and happy to take a lesser role. He just wants to get back out there.
Elbow shot. Irving can't get it to go. Cavaliers on D. It's a 3-point game. And there's the pass to West. Working on Thompson. The 8-footer. Thompson with the block. Hibbert. And you can count it. He'll go to the line with a chance to make it 3.
Well, coaches love him because of the hustle he's continually showing out on the floor. And I think where you really see it most is on the offensive boards.
And one other thing about him that you shouldn't fail to appreciate is the presence and impact he has defensively. He can lock you up and wear you down, and that effect really carries over to the rest of the guys.
First trip to the free throw line for him tonight. Free throw, no good for Hibbert. And when Granger is healthy, Steve, he's certainly a great player.
Well, you love his versatility, his ability to play both ends of the floor. A tough defender who can guard multiple positions. Offensively, he can put it on the floor, get to the rim, and he's got 3-point range. Really an excellent all-around player.
Rudely thrown down after the offensive rebound. He is ramped up now.
He is, you're right, and you figure this game might come down to a few of those effort plays.
Always does, Kevin.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Seems like that kind of a contest tonight.
Kicks to Hibbert. Back to George. Indiana moving it around. Hibbert, the pass to Granger. Hill. He dishes it to George. From outside, off the mark.
Indiana had perhaps the toughest defense in the league. They just didn't have any weaknesses defensively. If you attacked them inside, they were able to challenge you at the rim. If you tried to shoot over them, they were challenging you with their length on the perimeter. And they didn't back down. So it's not a surprise they were near the top in every defensive category.
Here's Hill. Dion Waiters making his last shot. Hill dishes to Granger. Elbow shot is on the way. Green for 2 points. Granger's got 5 now.
And it was almost like he was surprised to be that wide open, yet he knocked it down.
And Clark, the numbers back up what you were saying about the Pacers. A lot of stat heads will look at opponents' effective field goal percentage as a measuring stick for defense. And the Pacers, Steve, were the best in the league at that.
Well, they passed the eye test, that's for sure, Kevin. I mean, they challenge every shot. They get out to the three-point line. They block shots at the rim. And there's a reason this team was so good at the defensive end.
Indiana's gone 1 of 2 from long range in the first quarter. Hill kicks to George. Granger. Pass to West. Excellent D from Thompson. They play the clock right, Steve. They can go 2 for 1.
Yeah, just have to time it right. Make sure you work the clock correctly. And you get 2 possessions out of this.
Now, here's Thompson. And that's out of bounds. Cleveland will retain possession. And the Cavaliers will go with a different look here. Anderson Varejau's checked in for Bynum. Bennett comes in for Tristan Thompson. C.J. Miles, he's checked in for Alonzo G. And Jarrett Jack has subbed in for Dion Waiters. Just under 3.5 minutes gone here in the first quarter. Irving kicks to Varejao, but they'll get another chance. Outside Irving. Picked by Varejao. The kick out to Jack. A 3-ball. And the rebound goes to the Pacers. And here's Watson. Oh, and he just knocked down the buzzer beater.
Boy, ends the quarter with a dead-eye 3 as the buzzer sounds.
They had that set up, I think, Steve, and he timed it perfectly.
And that concludes the first quarter of play. It's the Pacers. They're up by 4. And back with the start of the second quarter in just a moment. Now the second quarter getting ready to start up. Let's quickly break down the game we've seen from the Pacers so far, guys.
The defense was really impressive there, guys, in that first quarter. They came out focused right from the beginning.
And, Steve, that's a big part of why they're on top right now.
Pacers leading by 4.
You know, in order to win your division, you have to be able to win games against the rest of your conference, and that's exactly what Indiana did last season. A tough team in a tough division, and they gave no ground to other teams in the East.
And stolen by Kyrie Irving. Miles the pass to Jack. Can't cash in from close range.
The defense was ready for him that time, and they had to be. He is so powerful in the lane.
Copeland good. And the Pacers, as you mentioned, Clark, very solid against the other teams in the East as they would cruise to a 31-20 record against the rest of the conference.
And really, that's because this team is built to handle anything that's thrown at them. Kevin, it's a big, strong, kind of old-school team. They'll pound you inside. They rebound. They protect the paint. There aren't a lot of matchups that seem to bother this team. You know, with Bennett out of UNLV, you love his great hands for a big guy. Can really catch and finish at the rim. You start talking about his strength, his ability to absorb contact. I like his game.
Steve, the point you make about the hands is really a good one. Great hands are not teachable. Good hands become better. Average hands can maybe move to good, but great hands are a gift. And when you've got his size and athleticism and those mitts, you've got a lot to work with.
And Doris Burke has a report for us from the sideline.
Thank you, Kevin. Andrew Bynum missed all of last season with knee trouble. And in a summer where he'd hoped to be signing a long-term max deal, he had to settle for a 2-year, partially guaranteed deal with the Cavs. The Cavaliers gambling that he can recover his health, and guys, if he does, the Cavs could pose a very intriguing option for LeBron James, assuming he opts out of the contract at the conclusion of this season.
Well, they say when you win, all that other stuff comes anyway. So, we'll find out. Thanks, Doris. And the first one at the line is good.
You know, the Cavs have been very mindful of remaining flexible in terms of the salary cap. And when you do this, you set yourself up to perhaps make a big splash in free agency at some point, and you know what's coming. They might have a chance to re-sign LeBron in 2014 with how their books look.
Both free throws good from Bennett. And that had been the rumor for a while. The Cavaliers looking to maybe mend some bridges and bring LeBron back into the mix when he hits free agency next year. Their books are certainly in order for it, Steve, and it might happen.
Hey, you never know. I mean, nobody expected LeBron to leave in the first place, so why not give yourself an opportunity? You are in his backyard in terms of LeBron's hometown, so I like what the Cavs have done. They've added young talent, but they've maintained flexibility just in case.
Here is Watson, following the basket by Kyrie Irving. Stevenson with it. Now Jack defending. And Copeland kicks to Scola. From the paint. And that one's good. Scola's got his first 2 points.
Those are the kind of nice inside looks they've gotten in the first half here.
And I think they should really continue to work it down low, Clark. That's really going to free up the rest of their offense.
Timeout is called. First of the game for the Cavaliers.
You can talk about a lot of other power forwards around the league, and even though Louis Scola never really explodes for monster games, a lot of his opponents will tell you he's one of the toughest guys to deal with because he's so consistent and has a lot of versatility to his offensive game.
The Cavaliers trail by 4. And we're about 2 minutes into the second quarter here. Verajao setting the pick for Jack.
2 minutes.
Now here's Bennett. Defense is right there. And it's going to be out of bounds. The Cavaliers will retain possession.
5 seconds on the clock.
1:52 left now here in the second. On speaking of Luis Scola, two-time MVP of the Spanish League. Didn't come to the NBA until his late 20s. But, boy, when he arrived, he made a dent.
He was ready to go immediately because of his experience in Europe where he was a go-to scoring threat. And, you know, he could do a lot of things offensively, whether it was posting up or making that mid-range jump shot.
And that one misses.
Well, one of the struggles for a young team is figuring out how to win on the road. And winning on the road is not just execution, it's preparation and mindset. And young teams struggle to put that together, and the Cavs were certainly a team that struggled with that.
And he's good on the second. For the Cavaliers, being young was a big problem, and not having much luck with injuries was another. But, Steve, it can be tough to score points when you're on the road, and they struggle with that in a big way.
Well, they would end up in the bottom 5 in scoring last year while on the road, and that did them no favor. Defense, I mean, that was another issue. They couldn't stop anybody. So you combine bad offense, bad defense, going on the road, you're in some trouble.
Cavaliers on D. They trail by 3. Watson kicks to Stevenson. There's the dish to Watson. Good on the triple. Watson's got 6.
Well, Mike Brown hired back to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I got a chance to know him a little bit when he's an assistant with the Pacers early in his coaching career, and was let go by the Cavs back in 2010. Family laid down roots in Cleveland, and I think he's glad to be back.
Now here is Jack. He's had some playing time, but no scoring yet from him. Verajao's shot is good.
Well, it was a dismal start from the field for them in the first quarter, but they're finally starting to turn it around.
Well, I don't think it could have gotten any worse, partner. I mean, you figure they had all their bad misses out of the way and should be good to go now.
And a chance here to catch up with the 4th member of our crew, Doris Burke. Hi, Doris.
Thank you, Kevin. There was a lot of speculation on what the Cavs would do leading up to last summer's draft. No clear-cut number 1, and they had a handful of guys to select from and even tried to shop the pick. Ultimately, they shopped everyone and took Anthony Bennett first overall. They're hopeful it works out as well as their last few number 1 picks, guys.
Yeah, great young player and certainly a stand-up individual. Thanks, Doris. And the first one drops. And for Mike Brown, his firing, kind of a desperation move by the Cavs to try to keep LeBron James. Steve, how'd you analyze that?
Well, I'm not sure that LeBron actually wanted him gone, but, he's a great defensive strategist, a guy who excels in player development. And give credit to him. He didn't burn any bridges when he left. He maintained strong relationships there in Cleveland, and it's great to see Mike Brown back there with the Cavaliers.
And so he makes both from the line.
Well, if the Pacers wanted to grab the attention of the league with their postseason play, they certainly did that. They marched through the first two rounds by knocking off the Hawks and the Knicks. And, boy, remember, they were a game away from the NBA Finals.
And Jack kicks to Waiters. The kick out to Jack. Just 5 on the clock. Paul George with the steal. Now the Pacers moving it up. West outside. 17 seconds left in the first half. It's George on the wing, defended by Waiters. 4 on the clock. West gets the bucket. And the Pacers lead by 8. Oh, wow, guys, doesn't look good. We've got an injury here.
Yeah, from the look on his face, he's in a lot of pain.
Yeah, it sure looks that way. He's going to come out of the game right now and get that thing checked out.
5 seconds left to play here in the second quarter. And on the way from Irving for 3. No good on the buzzer beater. The clock runs out, and we're heading to halftime. Pacers lead by 8. And coming up after the break, it'll be Damon Bruce breaking down all the highlights from the first half of play.
Now, presented by Sprint.
And everything is in place and ready to go on the halftime show for this Wednesday night. Indiana with a lead against Cleveland. They're scoring effortlessly. The defense has been completely overmatched. C.J. Watson's been an X factor. They've got some great production out of Danny Granger as well. And this dedicated Cavaliers team is weathering the storm. This team's known for their offensive rebounding capability, and they're maxing it out in this one. Kyrie Irving certainly contributing with his play, and they love the output they've gotten from Anthony Bennett too. And now we'll send you back to Indianapolis. See you next time on 2K Sports at the Half.
The Sprint Halftime Report, presented by Sprint.
All right, the second half beginning in just a moment. One of the stories here, Danny Granger getting it done today.
Well, guys, what he gives this team is an edge. I mean, he gets into the arena, he just lights it up, and I thought that first half, he really had it rolling.
He doesn't just give them an edge. He gives them a confidence and a swagger they wouldn't otherwise have. I mean, he's a special player to have around. Well, you look at Paul George, my man, PG-24, a young swingman out of Fresno State. Boy, he had a terrific year last season, was the most improved player last season and a first-time NBA All-Star. And consider how young he is. Just turned 23. And he's got the potential to make plenty more All-Star games. And I think he could ultimately be a Defensive Player of the Year at some time in his career.
And for Paul George, the 10th pick back in 2010, what a terrific find for the Pacers.
Well, he was already a good player, but I think the injury to Danny Granger last season created the opportunity for George to really emerge as an all-star, and that's exactly what he did. Dangerous inside and out, excellent defensive player, has a chance to be really special.
It was certainly a slow start to the season for the Pacers. Their veteran and leading scorer, Danny Granger, was on the shelf with a knee injury, but somehow this team found its identity around defense and the emergence of some younger players that may serve them well going forward. You get Danny Granger back with the young, emerging talent, this team should contend for a while.
And Granger was able to come back for them for a stretch during the regular season, but eventually had to once again miss the rest of the games. But the team had grown to where, that probably didn't derail them, as it might have, Steve, in the past.
Well, the big thing with the Pacers, Kevin, is that they have a lot of depth now across the roster. And with the emergence of Paul George, who kind of took Granger's spot, they were able to move on pretty well without him.
Now here's Waiters, following the miss by David West. The feed to G. Shot clock at 6. That's no good. Couldn't get his first shot to go. Pacers leading by 8. George dishes to Watson. And he lobs it up. Got a piece of it. Bynum with the steal. And here we go with Waiters. Running it up the court. There's the block. Tries to keep it alive. And it's going to be out of bounds. The Pacers will take it. A different look now for Cleveland. Anderson Varejau's checked in for Bynum. And Bennett subbed in for Tristan Thompson. Just over a minute and a half have passed here in the third quarter. Stevenson passes to Granger. It's West with the drive.
Well, you got to love the season from David West last year, coming off the ACL tear back in 2011. I think he's completely back as far as that injury is concerned. He was so good last year, particularly in the playoffs.
The Pacers have made 2 of their previous 3 free throws in today's game. That free throw good from West. C.J. Miles, he's checked in for the Cavaliers. And both free throws good for West. And that'll prompt Mike Brown to break it here. Timeout taken.
Well, they've really kind of struggled offensively here. So I think this timeout is for him to really draw something up, maybe get an easy 2 and get their confidence back.
You know, sometimes an easy basket out of a break is just what you need to get things back on track. And coaches always have plays specifically for that situation, coming out of timeouts for an opportunity to get a bucket.
The Cavaliers trail by 10. Irving with it. He kicks to Waiters. Back to Irving. Now Varejau inside. Good, and the assist goes to Irving. Varejau's got his second basket of the night.
One of the bright young head coaching stars in the league, Frank Vogel, took over the Pacers on an interim basis 3 seasons ago and immediately paid dividends. They had a strong finish to that season and his first season in a competitive first-round series against Chicago, and that success has continued to build and grow, and Frank Vogel deserves a lot of the credit.
On the clock. A fadeaway. A nice shot by George. George has got his second bucket.
You got to give high marks for that tough defensive effort. He was right in his jersey there. But that's just a terrific shot to knock it down with that kind of defensive pressure.
And it's time for an injury report. And now Doris Burke has an update for us on George Hill. Doris, what's the story?
Kevin, I spoke with head athletic trainer for the Pacers. He told me he tore his labrum on that play, and that is why he is in such pain and discomfort. We're starting to get into the grinding part of the season, and it has to be a real blow to this team to lose a player like him at a time like this.
All right, Doris, we will, of course, keep everyone updated as we find out more.
Yeah, and we know one thing, Kevin. This guy loves to play, so he's going to do everything possible to get back out onto the court.
Definitely. Let's hope it's a speedy recovery for him.
And the Cavaliers making a change here. Bynum's checked in. And so it's Indiana with it. Their defense has only allowed 6 points in the second half. Granger kicks to Scola. Working on Thompson. Turnaround Jay. It's hauled in by Bynum. Bynum's got 5 rebounds tonight. Irving drives in. No good.
He has not been on his game, and you know their deficit isn't totally on him, but he has not helped the situation.
Bynum with the steal. There's a 4-second difference from the shot clock to the game clock. Thompson a screen on Scola. Irving dishes to Thompson. Paul George with the steal. And now running up the court, Stevenson pushing it up. Back to George. Passes it to Granger. And it goes as the official calls the foul. Count it. He'll shoot one more at the free throw line.
Exceptional play to take the bump and still get it up and down.
Yeah, way to stay with it and look to finish the play right there.
The free throw drops for Granger. Throws it from deep. Can't get it to go. And here at the end of the third quarter, it's a double-digit ball game. Pacers out in front, up 11. And coming up as soon as we return from break, the fourth quarter gets underway. Welcome back. Fourth quarter action starting up in what has been a one-sided show. And guys, let's get your take on the hustle stats for the Pacers.
Contested shots and block shots. They're bread and butter defensively. They're giving up no easy looks.
The other thing they're doing, guys, is forcing turnovers and then creating points offensively as a result.
Now, here is Irving. And stolen by Granger. Now the Pacers moving it up. And then George with the jam.
And this sort of awesome dunk is one of the reasons this team is in charge of this game right now.
Clark, there is a swagger out here on the court that they possess and are not afraid to show it either.
That's right.
Those are phenomenal dunks to watch. So much fun.
Here's Irving. The Pacers making the shot. G passes to Irving. He feeds it to Waiters. Back to Irving. Just 5 to shoot. Irving double team. Here's Waiters. Drills the three-pointer.
Something starting to click for this team, guys. You can feel it. The three-pointers are dropping. Their offense is flowing.
They've had a great second half from long range.
Granger kicks to Hill. Back to Granger. Some nice passing here by Indiana. Outside Hill. Granger outside. Good. The assist goes to Hill. And that's 13 points for Danny Granger.
How about that for a response?
We'll say they can give the three as well as they can take the three.
And the Cavaliers call time here.
You know, it's really hard to say that Lady Luck hasn't been smiling on the Cavs in the past few years. LeBron was lost a few years back, but ever since then, they've had tremendous luck in the NBA draft lottery and had the first overall pick in 2 of the last 3 years.
And let's get this update now from Doris Burke, who's across the way on the sideline.
Thanks, Kevin. I got a chance to hear what Mike Brown was saying to the team. He challenged this group to really go for it, saying, now's the time when winners take control. Now let's go out there and take it to them. Guys, a nice pep talk. We'll see if he got him going.
Now here's Bynum. David West grabs the miss. Going back to what you said about the Cavs, great luck for them indeed with 2 number 1s in 3 years. That's definitely how you turn a franchise around.
Well, you got to make sure you hit on those draft picks. And as of right now, I would say only Kyrie Irving is a sure thing. Dion Waiters, the jury's still out. Tristan Thompson looks like a nice player. He's getting better. And we'll find out with Anthony Bennett.
He's not necessarily a strong inside presence, but he needs to polish those chances off.
It's stolen by West. On the wing, Granger, defended by G. Granger dishes to Watson. And it's Granger with the jam.
Boy, I love it. Active hands on the steal, active feet on the fast break.
And Clark power on the dunk.
And guys, this is just too close of a game to be giving the ball up like that and then failing to get back in transition.
Irving passes to Bynum.
One of the oldest plays in basketball made that dunk possible.
That's right, a terrific screen right there, Steve. Allowed him to lose his man and rock it to the rim.
Well, don't you love to see players working together in that fundamental play? Fun to watch.
Time called here. Indiana decides to talk it over. They lead by 13. 1:43 left in the game. The Pacers making a switch here. Scola's checked in. .143 left in the fourth quarter. George. Back to Scola. Feeds it to Granger. Defended by G. Granger kicks to Watson. Connects from three-point range.
Boy, such outstanding patience and decision-making for them offensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Their ball movement has been outstanding. They are piling up the assists.
Waiters off a pick from Irving. And Waiters kicks to Irving. G dishes to Bynum. Outside Irving. Clock at 6. Trying to break that ice-cold streak. And Cleveland again with the bucket.
That's a clean look they gave him there, fellas, and he drains those.
And we're about 3 minutes into the fourth quarter. George with the ball. And it's Waiters picking him up. Watson kicks to Hibbert. Outside, George dishes to Granger. That's good. And the Pacers lead by 16.
He's been one of their more reliable options today, guys. I mean, his shooting has led them to this lead.
Well, if you're just tuning in, welcome. We've got about 3.5 minutes gone here in the fourth quarter. Waiters passes to Bynum. And out of bounds as the Pacers gain possession.
That's a poor possession. You just give away the ball with a sloppy pass.
And the Cavaliers with some changes. Anderson Varejau's checked in for Bynum. C.J. Miles comes in for Alonzo G. And it's Karsov in for Dion Waiters. Here is Watson. 34 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Pass to Stevenson. He passes to Watson. Kicks to Stevenson. Down to 5 on the shot clock. And they're going to count the bucket and send him to the line. It could be a three-point play.
And they're not finished yet. They're going to make sure about this win.
Yeah, that's how you close out a game, Steve.
Shooting for Indiana, Lance Stevenson. Shooting one.
And that one falls for Stevenson. There's 14 seconds left to play here in the fourth. Outside Jack. Left side Jack. Here's Bennett. Off on that one. So no problem for Indiana as they get the win. You know, Clark, every team has a bad night, and these guys might want to watch the tape of this game the next time they have a bad night to remind themselves how dominant they can be.
Well, this is one of those dream-like games for a coach.
And that about wraps it up for Clark Kellogg, Steve Kerr, and Doris Burke. This is Kevin Harlan thanking you for watching the NBA presented by 2K Sports. And now, Jordan presents our player of the game, Danny Granger.
Seen him.